Every morning I wake up, it can feel like a nightmare.
We have a former college student. He's missing from his apartment.
Morgan, are you at home?
What the? Finding people before they come to harm is why I signed up to work missing persons.
Missing, Dead or Alive returns with a second season that deepens the unsettling exploration of disappearances that defy easy explanation and leave lasting scars on families, investigators, and entire communities. The series continues to examine cases where people vanish under circumstances that feel almost unreal, emphasizing the fragile boundary between ordinary life and sudden absence. Each story begins with a moment that seems routine. A night like any other, a day filled with familiar habits, before everything fractures and a person is gone, leaving behind questions that may never fully be answered. This season places particular emphasis on the emotional weight carried by those left behind. Families are shown grappling with the unbearable uncertainty of not knowing whether to grieve or to hope. The series captures how time stretches painfully when answers do not come, how every phone call can spark fear or expectation, and how daily life becomes a struggle when closure is denied. Rather than treating these disappearances as abstract mysteries, the narrative centers the human cost, making it clear that each case represents a life interrupted and many others forever altered. One of the defining threads of the season is the disappearance of a young woman who vanishes in the dead of night. The series carefully reconstructs the hours leading up to that moment, examining what is known, what is assumed, and what remains dangerously unclear. Friends and relatives describe her personality, her routines, and her plans, painting a vivid picture of someone with a future that suddenly evaporated. The quiet darkness of the night becomes an unsettling character in itself, a reminder of how quickly someone can be swallowed by silence. Alongside this case, the season explores the vanishing of a man who disappears without his vital possessions, a detail that complicates every possible explanation. The absence of items he would normally never leave behind raises immediate red flags and fuels speculation about foul play, coercion, or a sudden and uncharacteristic break from his life. Investigators are shown dissecting this detail from every angle, weighing the significance of what was left behind as heavily as what is missing, and questioning whether this absence points toward intention or danger. The series maintains a methodical pace that mirrors real investigations, avoiding sensationalism while still sustaining tension. Viewers are taken through the painstaking work of law enforcement as they follow leads that sometimes end abruptly or contradict earlier assumptions. Interviews, timelines, and reconstructed sequences reveal how complex these cases can be, especially when evidence is scarce or unreliable. The show makes clear that solving a disappearance is rarely straightforward and often involves navigating incomplete information and conflicting testimonies. Season 2 also highlights how modern technology plays a dual role in missing persons cases. On one hand, digital footprints can offer crucial clues, tracking movements, communications, and patterns that might otherwise go unnoticed. On the other hand, technology can create false confidence, leading people to believe that answers must exist somewhere in data, even when reality proves otherwise. The series reflects on how investigators balance these tools with traditional methods, always aware that technology cannot replace human intuition or empathy. The involvement of police is presented with nuance, showing both determination and limitation. Investigators are depicted as committed professionals who carry the weight of these cases long after official hours end, yet the series does not shy away from acknowledging systemic challenges. Limited resources, jurisdictional complications, and the passage of time all work against swift resolution. This balanced portrayal avoids simplistic hero narratives and instead underscores the complexity of real-world policing. Throughout the season, interviews with loved ones provide an emotional anchor. Their recollections, hopes, and frustrations give voice to the lived reality of waiting. The series allows space for grief that has no clear endpoint, for anger directed at unanswered questions, and for moments of resilience that emerge despite overwhelming uncertainty. These personal accounts transform the cases from puzzles to be solved into stories of endurance and loss. The storytelling approach of the season emphasizes atmosphere as much as information. Quiet scenes, pauses, and reflective moments are used to convey the emptiness left by absence. The tone remains consistently somber, reinforcing the idea that these are not isolated incidents, but part of a broader pattern of disappearances that occur more often than many realize. The series invites viewers to sit with discomfort rather than rush toward conclusions. Another notable aspect of the season is its attention to how communities react when someone goes missing. Friends organize searches, neighbors share rumors, and local environments become charged with suspicion and fear. The show illustrates how a single disappearance can ripple outward, altering perceptions of safety and trust. Familiar places are re-examined through a lens of uncertainty, and ordinary settings take on an eerie quality. The season also addresses the psychological toll on investigators who repeatedly confront unresolved cases. Through candid reflections, the series reveals how working on disappearances can blur the line between professional duty and personal burden. Investigators speak about cases that linger in their minds, about faces they cannot forget, and about the frustration of reaching dead ends. This perspective adds depth to the narrative, reminding viewers that those seeking answers are also affected by the lack of resolution. As the episodes unfold, the series carefully avoids definitive judgments. It presents multiple theories without forcing a single narrative, allowing viewers to understand how ambiguity is an inherent part of missing persons investigations. This restraint reinforces the chilling reality that not all questions receive answers, and that certainty is often elusive. The show respects the complexity of truth, acknowledging that some stories remain incomplete. Season 2 expands the scope of the series by reinforcing patterns across cases. While each disappearance is unique, recurring themes emerge, such as the vulnerability of transitional moments, the risks associated with isolation, and the unpredictable nature of human behavior. By drawing these connections subtly, the series encourages viewers to think more broadly about why people go missing and what societal factors may contribute. The emotional resonance of the season is heightened by its focus on time. Days turn into weeks, weeks into years, and the absence becomes a permanent presence. The series conveys how hope can evolve over time, sometimes fading, sometimes transforming into a quiet determination to keep searching. This portrayal avoids tidy resolutions and instead reflects the ongoing reality faced by many families. In examining these cases, the series also raises questions about identity and legacy. When someone disappears, their story becomes fragmented, defined by speculation and memory rather than continuation. Loved ones struggle to preserve who the person was, separate from the circumstances of their disappearance. The show gives space to these reflections, emphasizing the importance of remembering individuals as more than missing persons. The second season maintains a consistent commitment to sensitivity and respect. The narratives are handled with care, ensuring that the focus remains on understanding rather than exploiting tragedy. This approach allows the series to engage viewers without crossing into voyeurism, fostering empathy instead of mere curiosity. As the season progresses, the tension does not rely on dramatic twists, but on the slow accumulation of unanswered questions. Each new detail can feel both promising and devastating, as leads emerge only to dissolve. This structure mirrors the real experience of those involved in such cases, reinforcing the authenticity of the storytelling. The absence of clear conclusions in some cases is not presented as failure, but as a reflection of reality. The series acknowledges that being missing can exist in a painful space between life and death, where certainty is impossible. This honest portrayal challenges viewers to confront discomfort and to recognize the limits of knowledge. By the end of the season, Missing, Dead, or Alive leaves a lasting impression through its focus on humanity rather than spectacle. The stories linger not because of shock value, but because they highlight how fragile normalcy can be and how deeply absence can cut. The series reinforces the idea that every missing person represents an unfinished story, one that continues to affect lives long after the moment of disappearance. Season 2 ultimately stands as a sobering examination of loss, uncertainty, and perseverance. It does not promise closure, but it offers understanding, reminding viewers that behind every case are real people waiting, searching, and hoping. Through its careful storytelling and emotional depth, the series continues to ask the haunting question at the heart of every disappearance: whether someone is truly gone or still out there, suspended between being dead or alive.